Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to where you're at the world. This is Viper Strike 95 Flight Simulation, and today we're here to do another round of our new city tour series. And today we're going to be probably doing one of our most impressive tours yet. That's right, we're back in the Pacific Northwest. More specifically, we're here in Tacoma, Washington here today. And this one would be quite special as we are touring the cities of Tacoma and Seattle, Washington today. So it's great to have you guys here as well on another great stream from Microsoft Flight Simulator. So it's great to see you guys here. I hope you guys are doing really, really well today. So yeah, I hope you're all doing great. So we're here at Tacoma Narrows Airport, Kilo Tango India Whiskey. Right outside Tacoma, Washington. Edward TX, good to see you. Super Typhon, great to see you too. Um, so yeah, I had some OBS thing going on, so I had to first update OBS to version 28.01, and then I ran into a problem. I then tried to stream, but my NVENC drivers from NVIDIA were not up to date, so I had to update both the game and studio drivers. So thankfully that took care of that, and I'm happy to finally get streaming it. I'm glad it didn't have to take long for me to wait. Good to see you. So yeah, I see Mount Rainier up here. Yeah, we see the beautiful Mount Rainier in the background today. This is Mount Rainier in front of us. I mean, it is the tallest peak here in Washington. So what's today's flight plan going to go over? Well, we have a pretty important flight plan for this day. Let me pop this thing back up. Yep. So yeah, I got a new version of OBS version here. So for our trip today, we're going to take off from Tacoma Narrows, and we're going to check out Tacoma Narrows Bridge. And this bridge in particular has had an interesting history. There's actually been 3 bridges built in this area since its first construction. Then from there, we'll be visiting Chase Stadium, home of the AAA club for the Mariners, the Tacoma Rainiers. Then we're going to visit Tacoma Dome and the America's Car Museum, downtown Tacoma. We'll be visiting the Port of Tacoma over here. Then from here, we'll actually be heading our way over to then from there, we're going to head up into Seattle Tacoma International. It is a handcrafted airport from Asobo, so we'll be touring the facility a little bit, show you some of the areas they got there. Then we'll be heading our way to Renton Municipal Airport. We're going to go through another tour of Renton. This time we are going to tour the Renton factory here. We're going to tour the factory here in Renton. So this would be an absolute blast to tour the Renton factory. This is where they make the 737s for Boeing. And then from there, we'll be heading to Boeing Field. This is where other people can pick up and deliver Boeings. This is also where the Museum of Flight is located here in Seattle. I wish I could have gone in September, since next week I'll be heading to Seattle. Then from there, we'll be traveling through to the Port of Seattle, one of the largest ports in the U.S. Then go through downtown Seattle, visiting T-Mobile Park, Lumen Field, home of 2 of Seattle sports teams. The Klondike Gold Rush National Historic Park here. This is the Seattle branch. Then we visit Smith Tower. Used to be one of the tallest buildings in the American West Coast. Then Seattle's tallest building, Columbia Center. Then we'll visit more of the waterfront, including the Seattle Aquarium, and of course, the world-famous Pike Place Market with its flying fish. Then visit one of the many iconic concert halls here in Seattle, the Showbox and the Paramount Theater. Then from there, we'll be heading to the Crocodile. Then we'll be heading to the Seattle Center. Visit the World. Then we visit the Seattle Center. We visit the Science Museum. Then, of course, no trip without Seattle would ever be complete without visiting the Space Needle. And then from there, we'll be visiting Planetarium Climate Pledge Arena, the home of Seattle's newest sports team, the Seattle Kraken. Go all the way down here, visit the cruise port where I most likely will be heading off to in next week, more specifically next Sunday. Visit West Point Lighthouse, visit Across Adams, visit West Woodland Park Zoo, Seattle's main zoo. Then of course, we'll be visiting the University of Washington, home of the Huskies. We'll be visiting Alaska Airlines Arena and Husky Stadium. Then from there, we'll be crossing over Lake Washington into Bellevue. That's because we're going to be visiting the HQ of Microsoft. So we'll be visiting all the buildings in the Microsoft HQ. Then we're going to visit Warren G. Magazine Park. This park was actually the site of a former naval air station, and this was actually the starting point of the 1924 circumnavigation of the world, the very first ever done by air. And then we'll be visiting Kenmore Air Harbor, the main air base for Kenmore Air, which, if you've seen some of the liveries for Microsoft Flight Simulator, this is where they're from. And finally, for the last part of the tour, we're going to be visiting Payne Field. We're going to visit the Boeing Everett factory, one of the world's largest buildings by volume in the Future of Flight Museum, and make our landing here. And I also have freeware scenery that's on FSTO, and we'll be touring around the facility as well. So this one is going to be a long stream, but I'm going to have a lot of fun for this one. This is going to be a fun one. So I hope you guys are excited about this as much as I am. So I hope you guys are just as excited as I am. So yeah, we're going to go back. I'm going to go ahead and we are taking the Drifter Ultralight for today's trip. We're taking the Drifter Ultralight for today. But before we get started, let's go ahead and talk about our first airport for today. This is Tacoma Narrows Airport here in Tacoma. This county-owned public-use airport is located 5 miles west of the business district here in Tacoma. It is a general aviation facility. It covers an area of 644 acres with an elevation of 290 feet in one runway, 1735, with an asphalt surface measuring about 5,000 feet of runway space. Of course, there are a few cargo airlines that operate from Seattle and Portland operate here. But during the 60s, it used to be part of West Coast Airlines, a regional airline. So that is Tacoma Narrows Airport. So a bit of a background between that. So it's great to have you guys here. Thank you, Chronicle, if you're still here, thank you for being patient. And Edward TX is with us today. Edward, you're actually flying along with me today. That's awesome. So let's get this plane started, shall we? Left, right, magneto. So yeah, we're back here. It's great to have you guys here. Thank you so much for being patient with me this morning. Like, I probably should do these updates beforehand, but I mean, I don't know when they're coming out with this sort of stuff. So it's always great to, but it's great to be here with you guys. Thank you so much. And no, I didn't pick the floats version, unfortunately. But if I didn't have the float version, I wouldn't be able to land in a lot of these strip airports. We're gonna go ahead and get the heat going. Top of the climb, and we are up. And yes, I'm going to go ahead and fill the tanks to max. So yeah, it's great to have you guys in the air, as well. Edward TX and Chronica. thank you guys so much for coming along on today's stream. Like I said, it's deeply appreciated always. So the first thing I want to make a note here is our bridge here. So this bridge here is Tacoma Narrows. This one here is particularly interesting. It's got an interesting history, actually. Let me go ahead and pause this thing if you don't mind. Yeah, I'm going to pause it first. So this here is Tacoma Narrows Bridge here in Tacoma. Now, the interesting fact about Tacoma Narrows Bridge is that this is actually a pair of bridges here in the city of Seattle. Not in Seattle, but Tacoma. It's some interesting history. Well, there was an original bridge that opened back in 1940. 3 bridges have been built here. The original bridge opened in 1940, but it opened in July 1st, and it actually collapsed only 4 months later because of the aeroelastic flutter, and that was caused by 42 miles of wind. And that was due to the fact it was bad building design back then. And I mean, if you ever seen clips of like a bridge tossing and turning, like old films, there's a good chance it is this bridge, by the way. In fact, it's still debated by engineers today as well, and it's still a major part of many science and engineering classes. But the most recent bridges, the first one is the westbound bridge that was built in 1950. Thankfully, it hasn't been much of an issue. When it was built, it's currently the fifth longest suspension bridge in the U.S., the westbound bridge. And then the new eastbound bridge was opened in 2007, which is this one as well. In fact, it is the fifth largest suspension bridge in the U.S. with over 1,646 meters long, making it only around 700 meters shorter than the Golden Loop Bridge in San Francisco. Yeah, this bridge has a really interesting history itself. But yeah, for all you guys who are new in chat, we do these every single Sunday. So that being said, there will be no Say Tour next Sunday or the one afterwards because I'm going to be gone on my cruise. But I would definitely, good to see you, Chronico. No, I'm glad you're here too, Chronico. Good to see you here. Like I said, Chronico, I'm very happy to see you here too. I have my autopilot set. Yeah, it's great to see you, Chronico. It's always good to see you here, my friend. So we're going to talk about Tacoma, Washington. So some interesting facts about Tacoma. It is actually the second largest city in the Puget Sound, and it's the third largest in the state of Washington. It is a center of business activity in the southern Puget Sound region, which has a population of around 1 million. Tacoma got its name after the nearby Mount Rainier, which, I mean, come on. That's not hard to miss when you have this big mountain over there. The original name for the mountain was Tacoma, or Tacoma. Locally, it's known as the Sea of Destiny because it was chosen to be the western terminus of the Northern Pacific Railroad in the 19th century. It became a major transport in hub, thanks to rail and sea. And it's known as Washington's largest port, the Port of Tacoma. However, after the mid-20th century, it started to collapse, and thanks to investments since the 90s, Tacoma has been revitalized completely. And the history goes way back. So originally it was inhabited by the Native American tribes who first inhabited the land back in the day. A Swede in 1852 named Nicholas Devlin built a sawmill in the area, but it wasn't until 1864 that Job Carr built a cabin in this area, which he became Tacoma's first post office. Tacoma became around in 1875 as the western terminus of the railroad, and the population grew immensely. Tacoma was once a big-time automobile racing, used to be a big part of Tacoma during this time. However, the Great Depression really crippled Tacoma. In fact, Tacoma used to be one of the larger Hoovervilles in the country. Then after World War II, there was a lot of corruption going on in the government. And then Tacoma was also known for being its garage rock sound of several bands like the Wailers and Sonics. Then downtown Tacoma suffered a long decline to the 20th century. And then in the 90s, they revived the downtown, bringing back a lot of the stuff in areas around here in Tacoma. So yeah, a bit of history lesson about the city of Tacoma. Go ahead and perfect it. So that is a bit of history about the city of Tacoma. Like I said, these are group fights, by the way, so you're more than welcome to fly along. Yeah, I was thinking about taking the slow and slow kit box, for example. I was considering that for the trip, but I decided, you know, I'm probably going to save that one for the Route 66 trip I'm doing on September 21st. So I've been thinking about that. So this here in Tacoma. So this area here, this ballpark stadium, is actually Cheney Stadium, home of the Tacoma Rainiers, but also home to the Tacoma Defiance of the MLS Next Pro minor league soccer facility. It opened all the way back in 1960, and it has a capacity of 6,500 fans. It's named after local businessman Ben Cheney, who brought minor league baseball here in Tacoma. It's also hosted the 1990 Goodwill Games, and it was the alternate train site for the Seattle Mariners during the COVID-19 pandemic. So that's a little bit of background between. That's Cheney Stadium, right here, home of the Tacoma Rainiers. But yeah, this is going to be a long tour today, which is why I'm glad I took Drifter for the scenario. Yeah, there's Cheney Stadium. Yeah, there's Cheney Stadium below us. Home of the Tacoma Rainiers baseball team. The Lone Slow Fox is doing me well today. Portland, Seattle is amazing. Yeah, Portland, Seattle is really nice. I think that's a theme for a lot of the Pacific Northwest Chronicle is Pacific Northwest is fantastic, especially if you do bush flying. It's incredible. It's some of the best bush flying in the country is located here. Yeah. So guys, if you want to join my Discord, let's see. I'm gonna have to hold 1 second. I gotta update the invite link. So if you guys like what you see, if you haven't followed yet, it would be highly appreciated. It would be considered, but highly appreciated if you follow the channel. Every bit of support is always welcome. And once you do, I do have a really awesome Discord. It's where I post all my flights and information, my streams. So the next places we're visiting here are right next to each other. First is the America's Car Museum, opened in 2012. It is many of the cars here donated here by the family of Harold LeMay. The museum itself has around 165,000 square feet of exhibit space. It contains a 350 car gallery, notable for their speed, technology, and design, and it's important for car culture. The other is the Tacoma Dome. This multi-purpose arena here in Tacoma, currently used by basketball tournaments by the Washington Interscholastic Activities Association, which is Washington High School. It's also used for other community events. It's also well known in the past to be used as for a venue for minor league ice hockey, indoor soccer, even hosted professional teams for Seattle temporarily. At 530 feet in diameter, the stadium actually hosts around 20,000 fans for basketball games, but it can host a max of 21,000 for other events. So, yeah, this is downtown Tacoma, by the way. But yeah, absolutely beautiful today. Tacoma, I mean, absolutely beautiful today. So there's the car museum down here, is the America's Car Museum. Here. And there's the Tacoma Dome. All of that there is the mighty Tacoma Dome. It's also, in fact, in terms of volume, it is actually the largest arena with a wood dome in the world. So yeah, this dome is made of wood, and it's the largest wood dome in the world. So it hosted quite a few teams. It hosted Tacoma Stars, Rockets. It actually used to host the Supersonics of the NBA for about a season. The Seattle Sounders soccer team. It's hosted women's basketball championships, and of course, it's hosted Washington High School basketball and stuff. The bush line here is absolutely amazing. Bush line is absolutely incredible. So this is downtown Tacoma. So this is downtown Tacoma, by the way. And this over here is the port of Tacoma. And one of the main waterways here is the Thayafoff Waterway, separating the north-south inlet. This waterway became really important in the 1870s when a lot of sailing ships were called in, and local leaders currently now see this as an opportunity to restore the commercial hub that it once was in the area after the decades of decline in the 20th century. But the big thing is the port of Tacoma itself. This independent seaport was created in 1918. The first ship to come here was the Edinburgh back in 1921, and the marine cargo operations are among the largest in the U.S., and it was merged with Seattle's port to form the Northwest Seaport Alliance back in the day. Each year, the port handles around 9 to 13 million tons of cargo and over $25 billion of commerce, including automobiles, electronics, toys, while exports including grain, forest, and agricultural products. And of course, the top trading partner was China, especially Hong Kong. So, yeah, a little bit of interesting facts about the port here in Tacoma. So, let me take a screenshot of the port. Yeah, everything's running really smoothly today. But here's Tacoma's port, and here is the rest of downtown Tacoma. So yeah, I hope you guys have had a great weekend so far. I hope you all had a very nice weekend. This weekend, I've been working on a lot of my, it's for the 21st tour, I decided to work on the notes ahead. So, because I know I'm not going to have any more, since I'm not starting the Route 66 route for the next couple of weeks, I want to go ahead and work on it now, so by the time I get back, I don't have to work on it then. Yeah, there is downtown Tacoma. Beautiful. I mean, nothing's better I wish I could take a day trip to Mount Rainier. That would be really awesome for natural scenery. I almost got my clothes packed for the trip. I'm just waiting for them to fit in the suitcase. Hopefully they all fit in my suitcase. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, this drifter's running really smoothly today. I've been doing a lot of IRFR flying lately. Ooh, yeah, I've been doing lots of IRFR stuff too. That's what I've been doing for the virtual airline, Firefly Air. And that's what I've been doing all this time, is trying to get better at flying the commercial airline stuff. Now over here is Stadium High School. This is one of the many high schools around the area. One of the cool things about Stadium High School is the football stadium gives you a beautiful view of the Puget Sound. By the way, there's the port. Once we go here from the port, maybe we can talk about Seattle and a bit of a history of the city itself. There's Stadium High School in Seattle. There it is, Stadium High School, the old building and stuff. And look at that, there's the football stadium. I mean, uninterrupted view of the Puget Sound, absolutely. Left. Yeah, here's the port of Tacoma. Yeah, this is a pretty big port if you ask me. Oh, you're finally for VATSIM. Oh, yeah. I want to do, like I said, I want to do VATSIM at some point, but I'm just not confident yet in flights of my skills with VATSIM. And plus, I've been busy doing these streams and all that, so I would love to do VATSIM at some point on stream, but I want to wait a little bit longer. So now, I want to be talking about Seattle for a bit. So now we finally get to Seattle, Washington. Seattle is one of the largest cities here in the West Coast. It's the 15th largest city in the country with over 4.02 million people, one of the nation's fastest growing cities in the last decade, with 21.1%. It's been inhabited here by Native Americans since at least 4,000 years. The first people to arrive here were Denny's Party, led by Arthur A. Denny, came here in 1851. The settlement moved to the eastern shore of Elliott Bay, and it was named Seattle after Chief Seattle of the local Squamish tribe. Today, Seattle has a large population of Native, Scandinavian, Asian American, African American people, along with a thriving LGBT community. It's also known for logging, which was its first major industry. It was a shipbuilding center during the Klondike Gold Rush. During World War II, it grew a lot thanks to Boeing, which established Seattle as a major aircraft manufacturing hub. And then in the 80s, it developed into a technology center thanks to Microsoft. Mainly Bill Gates, who is actually a Seattleite himself. It's also a major, it's also the birthplace of Amazon, which was founded here in Seattle in '94, and a major airline, Alaska Airlines, is based here in Seattle, Tacoma. So, like I said, Seattle was founded by the Native Americans back then. In 1851, a large party of American pioneers settled here in 1851. Seattle here in 1853, and oh, we got ready for Tomo 68 years. Tomo 71? Oh my goodness, Tomo's World with a rate of 71. I never got this very much. Darko 06 with a follow. Guys, Mrs. JoJo, Raid, JoJo 1, and Mrs. JoJo. Good to see you. Tomos, Coffee Cola, Martel. Oh my goodness, you guys are here. You guys are here to good time. I might have to slow down a little bit. Mrs. JoJo with a follow. Devil Dude, my good friend. Dougal McTavish. So guys, we're doing our city tour of Seattle today. We're visiting the Seattle-Tacoma area. We just got done visiting Tacoma. And we're on our way over to Seattle, Washington. So let's go over the plan. So we just visited Tacoma. We got to see Tacoma Narrows Bridge. Then we're going to head to Seattle-Tacoma International. We're going to tour the airports because this is a handcrafted airport, by the way, of Osobo. And then I have the written scenery. So we're going to check out the Boeing written factory. You guys are more than welcome to listen to my voice as we go through the tour. Visit Boeing Field, home of the Museum of Flight. This is where people get their Boeings delivered to. Then visit the Seattle, Port of Seattle, one of the largest ports in the country. Then we visit downtown Seattle like T-Mobile Park, Lumen Field, Pike Place Market, the Showbox, the Space Needle, Climate Pledge Arena. Then go around Seattle for a bit, and then visit the University of Washington. Then cross the Lake Washington into Bellevue. We get to go visit Microsoft's HQ, the people who helped develop the game. Then visit Warren G. Magazine Park, the starting point of the 1924 Around the World trip. I'm planning to do that at some point. Visit the HQ of Kenmore Air, literally in Kenmore. And then I have the scenery for Payne Field, so we're going to visit Payne Field actually, get to visit the Boeing Everett factory in the future of flight. So this is a really action-packed flight we have here coming to the sim. Guys, thank you so much for coming here today. Planet Neutral's here too. Oh, thank you, Typhon. I didn't know you'd give me a boost. Yeah, Kenmore Air. Yeah, that's actually a real livery. So guys, let me get a shout out for Tomo's World. I know you had an amazing flight through Spain and Portugal. You flew to the Azores, I believe, in Madeira, and then you made your way back to Gibraltar, where literally the airport's roads are driven through the airport. And of course, I'm going to also give a shout out to Planet Neutral, another fantastic friend of mine. He is a librarian at heart like me, so he and I definitely get along really well. Definitely check out our stream. Seriously, guys, thank you so much for today's stream. Oh, you had to go around. Yeah, I had to go around. So, I was giving out the history of Seattle. For you guys who are here for the first time, I am the resident researcher of the Two-Tomer community, and I do these slideshows every single stream I do. I give you tours, and I'm touring around the area. I don't want to just be more than just someone who picks up advice. I want to teach you all this sort of stuff. So basically, I was going over the history of Seattle while you were raided. Then, during the Klondike Gold Rush, this thing became a boom town. First with lumber, Then, of course, the gold rush as well. It became a big part. It made Seattle a big boom town with lumber. Then the Klondike Gold Rush happened, and then shipbuilding boom happened during the 20th century because of World War I, and Seattle turned out to be a great port city for doing that as well. And then the third part of history, Seattle really prospered during the Great Depression. Though it really benefited from many of the programs like the WPA, the Civilian Conservation Corps, and the Public Service Administrations. Really helped it out during the Great Depression with dams, schools, railroads, bridges, docks, and more. Then the Hoovervilles came around during the Depression, and then during World War II, it prospered more, and this time Seattle became a major hub for building Boeing planes. They're including the B-17s and of course the B-29 Super Fortress. And then while it dipped initially, it came back soaring with Boeing's dominance in the commercial airline market, mainly 707 and of course the big old 74 and 737 planes. In addition, Seattle also became a major hub for many of the tech companies. Of course, Microsoft, that's an obvious one, but also Amazon. And Nintendo even made their headquarters here in America, here in Seattle. And of course, in the 90s was also the time where grunge came into popularity. Bands like Pearl Jam, Foo Fighters, Alice in Chains, and of course, Nirvana came in. And it grew what am I flying? Oh yeah, let me show you what I'm flying. Well, Jam. I am flying the Drifter Ultralight. It's a payware from Ant Airplanes for $15 in the U.S. market from the Instant Marketplace or Sim Market. It's a fantastic little ultralight. It comes in two flavors. You have your standard wheels version, and then the other, I actually have it with the floats variant, which I'm not flying today. I could have picked the floats variant if I wanted to, but I'd rather just pick the normal variant for today. And of course, if you look in the background, there's big old Mount Rainier that just sticks out like a sore thumb. Yeah, DWalt26, thank you so much for the follow to DWalt. But yeah, my goal is to reach 500 by the end of this year. I'm hoping to reach 500 because I got something big going on for that. So yeah, this is Seattle Tacoma Airport in front of us. There's Kingslayer. But yeah, for a lot of you guys who do your airline flights in America and Pacific Northwest, there's a good chance you end up here. Jay Cooper 38, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate it. So yeah, we have this is going to be a big day today, so I'm very, very happy to do this. Yeah, this is Seattle Tacoma, by the way. And yes, this is where I'm going to be landing at on Saturday. Next Saturday, we're going to be taking off here from Louisville, head to Charlotte, I believe, and then from Charlotte head to Seattle. So I'll be landing here at Tacoma, Seattle Tacoma International. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the autopilot. Heading hold off. So yeah, Seattle Tacoma. It's known as SeaTac. Hey, Kingsman from Wales. Good to see you. Kingsman, I hope you're doing well, my friend. But yeah, I'm going to be making a landing here at Seattle Tacoma because this is a handcrafted airport. I'm going to give you a little bit of a rundown of this place. There's parking over here, so I'll just park one of these little spots right by the gates. But this is Seattle Tacoma International. Devil dudes, 3 hours in the bin because of a court circuit in the home. Oh, you mean short circuit at home? If that's the case, yikes. It's a massive yikes. But no, it's great to have you guys here on this city tour. and we're gonna get there. Okay. Okay, we're down here at Seattle, Tacoma. I'm just gonna go to the next taxiway. Just gonna go land here in the grass, if you guys don't mind. Hey, Beethoven! Good to see you. Do you pay the landing fee? I don't know what the landing fee here is in Seattle, Tacoma. I've already talked to the Tacoma officials, and I already gave me an agreement. So this is Seattle, Tacoma. So let me go ahead and pop this up. So this airport here is Seattle Tacoma International, by the way. So some bit of interesting facts about Seattle Tacoma is, of course, this is the primary commercial airport here in the Seattle metropolitan area. It covers 2,500 acres of land. Now that's a lot. That's smaller than a lot of the other airports in the U.S. in terms of passenger numbers. But of course, it has flights all around from the United States, throughout North America, Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. Of course, it's the primary hub for Alaska Airlines, whose headquarters are near this airport. It's also a hub and international gateway here for Delta Airlines, which has expanded through this airport since 2011. As of 2022, 31 airports operate here at Seattle Tacoma International, serving 91 domestic and 20 international destinations, which is really cool. Now, the history of this airport goes all the way back to 1944 when it was built by the Port of Seattle after the military took control of Boeing Field for World War II. So, using that money, they built the airport. The first scheduled airline flights here were Northwest and Trans-Canada Airlines in 1947. But it grew a lot during the 60s and 70s. In recent years, this airport has grown quite a bit with several new terminal buildings and new runways. And then in 2021, Alaska joined American Airlines in the One World Alliance, and as a result, American Airlines built a hub here in this airport to serve regions in Pacific. And it has seen record growth in traffic passengers for the last few years. And according to Flight Connections, Seattle Tacoma connects to all sorts of destinations. It has flights to Iceland, London, Dublin. Yes, direct flights to Dublin, Ireland. And then we also have routes in Asia, like Tokyo, Seoul, Beijing, Shanghai, Taipei. Even Singapore has a flight to Singapore. Even somewhere in India, funnily enough, Bengaluru, which is the longest flight from Seattle, 8,000 miles. It's pretty crazy, at least, to talk about Seattle Tacoma. So yeah, the taxiway seems like runway. Welcome, Harrison Ford. Well, guess what? I'm Harrison Ford's privileges. This is Asoblo's Seattle Tacoma Airport. I'm gonna give you a bit rundown of this place. So this here, there's multiple hangars. There's one for Delta. This one here is for Alaska Airlines. It's Artisco Airlines because, you know, copyrights. That's why they have Aduta and Osco Airlines, but that's because of copyright things and trademarks. So there's the Alaska Airlines hangar, what would be there, and the Delta hangar. Mainly, this is the Delta cargo hangar. There's quite a few of the gates and clubhouses here. There's multiple different gates. There's gate S4 and 6, the terminal buildings. And all this is connected here through the different gates here at Tacoma. There's the parking garage. Pretty interesting stuff. I hope I'm not flying through this too fast. And then this building here is supposed to be for Alaska Airlines and stuff. There's the main route. And then this building over here, these buildings here, are for Alaska air cargo and stuff. This is for some of the cargo stuff, including Alaska, United Airlines, and FedEx all have cargo ports here, DHL. So there's the Alaska air cargo. There's FedEx. and all the stuff. They do cargo flights here. And that is bit of Tacoma. So yeah, this is, by comparison to a lot of other airports for traffic numbers, it's actually one of the smaller end of numbers. These copyright names are often hilarious. Yeah, but I mean, would you want to pay the royalties for all that? Like, I get Microsoft's a billionaire company, but I don't think they can pay for that. Yeah, this is a bit of Tacoma International for you, which isn't bad for being freeware about it. However, I think the next airport we're going to visit is going to be much more impressive, though, as we will see. So we're going to go ahead and take back off here at the road. Here. I'm going to wait till you guys get back in here. So yeah, I hope you guys have had a great weekend. I hope if Tomo's still here, I hope you had a great flight as always. So yeah, it's great to see all you guys here in chat. It's always good to have you guys here. Thank you so much for coming here today. So yeah, I'm having a great weekend so far. I hope you guys have enjoyed your all's weekend. So the next airport we're gonna visit another airport it's right next to Tacoma International. If we go to our right, we'll be visiting Renton Municipal. It's actually one of the hubs here for Firefly Air. This public use airport is located here in Renton in King County, Washington. It's known for its floating deck and launch ramp for conversion. But this is very important because this is right next to the Boeing Renton factory. And it manufactures the very popular 737s, but it also used to manufacture the flying pencil, the 757. Which, by the way, is a plane that I'm really excited for Microsoft Flight Sim. I hope that Speedbird Simulations comes out with the 757 soon. Because if it's any good, I'm definitely flying the flying pencil through much of the routes. But it's a fantastic airport, and I got the Payward scenery for it from Drzezinski Designs. By the way, if you want any of the sceneries for today's flight, just do exclamation point scenery. And we have Bluebird. Oh, Bluebird simulation. Okay. I'm sorry. And yeah, disregard the links. Yeah, there we go. So we have the written field scenery, and I also got the freeware painted field scenery from Freaky D has been working on that scenery. And it's actually, I checked out this morning, very nice freeware scenery. So yeah, here's written. I hope the frame loss isn't going to be bad, because this can be intensive on the frames, so... I'm hoping it's not that bad. But yeah, we have multiple airports we're going to be visiting. So yeah, it's beautiful out here today. If it's one of the things I do like about Seattle, the Pacific Northwest has always been a very good looking scenery. It's always been one of my favorites to absolutely look at in the sim. I mean, between all the lakes, the mountains, the forest, the Pacific Northwest, I think, is just awesome. And you have all sorts of different scenery. You got hills, you got your mountains, you got your forest and lakes. You got everything you could have wanted. So we're landing on runway 34. I hope there'll be some parking. Because we got all the Boeing 737s, by the way, out of Renton. So yeah, look at this. There is the 737s down there. There's a lot of them. Yeah, this is a pretty short airport runway, 5,387 feet. This is short enough that the 737s can actually take off here. Yeah, it's starting to hurt the frames a little bit. But we're going to give you a full thing about Renton. This is going to be interesting. Go ahead and stop the airport. Yeah, we're back here. Welcome to Renton Airport in Washington. So this is Renton Municipal, done by the incredible Drzyski Designs. This one is for $20 US. So I got this for free the same day I won the Cessna 414, so I got this for free. And this is an extremely impressive scenery, by the way. So there's him with the, there's some of the Cessnas. Yeah, the wings might come off. Yeah, great slide sit there. Oh yeah, the PNGC Stack 3737. So the detail of this airport is absolutely awesome. So when I won the Sim Market voucher, I asked Murph I picked a selection of airports for the hubs, and he picked, of all that list, he picked Renton, by the way. And I gotta agree with Murph, this is a good choice. So this is, these are some of the 737s here. I believe these are Maxes, I believe. Yeah, these are 737 Maxes. These are the newest 737s built. Though this plane has not come without controversy because of all the issues it's had previously with safety. But yeah, I believe this is the Max. I believe that's the Max 9 or Max 8 version of the 737 Max. Then there's Ryanair. I believe. Specifications. Like I said, there's Max 7, there's Max 9s being built. And of course, someone's building the Max 10. There is. You know, these are a lot of these 737s are Maxes. These are the ones being built at the Max models. And then there is the Kenmore Air. This is where Kenmore Air gets operated. There's the Beaver. And this plane's going to come in November, which I can't wait to fly the Beaver in the Kenmore colors in November. That's going to be awesome. I bet you guys are very excited for it. There's Aerodyne Aviation. Then there's the Ace Aviation. There's all the Kenmore airplanes. Ace Aviation. Isn't this just cool or what? This scenery is just amazing. Look, there's the Turbo Otter, by the way. There's the DHC-3 Turbo Otter. Kenmore Air operates those. And then from this side of the runway, we got to see a couple more. Oh yeah, yeah, the Beaver. I can't wait for the Beaver. That's gonna be awesome. Now, these planes here, this is actually the P-8 Poseidon. This is for the U.S. Navy, by the way. Mainly, they're used for marine patrols, especially against submarines, and it's a reconnaissance plane. They, and this is based off the 737-800 series NG models, by the way. 150 of them have been produced here from the Boeing Renton factory. This is where they tore down, and then this here is the PNDG 737. I remember when Fabio showed off this on his stream. I mean, that was pretty insane. We got to see the 737 for the first time for Microsoft Flight Simulator. But yeah, it's my favorite airliner to fly in the sim. I just love the PNG 737. I mean, I'm a huge Boeing fan. That's probably why into my biases. But awesome. And then once we go here, across the bridge, and we see more 737s. We see LOT Polish Airlines, Poland's flag carrier. Belivia. There's more Fly Dubai. And then we get to the really good stuff. This is what I think makes the scenery worth the money. This is the Renton Bowen factory, by the way. So let me guys give you some info about the factory itself. So let's talk about the info for this factory, by the way. So the Boeing Renton factory here in Renton Municipal Airport. This was actually first built in 1941. Now the land itself was actually built on land that was reclaimed in 1916. It was purchased at the time by industrialist Charles H. Bennett for coal storage, but that never happened. However, at the start of World War II, the property was transferred to the state, and they built the factory there. And they produced all sorts of planes, from the XP Ranger. They also, but the main thing they built here during World War II was the B-29 Super Fortress, which we know was the bomber that ended the Second World War. About 1,119 B-29s were built here in the Renton plant, but they also produced other planes. Of course, the legendary Boeing 707, the first successful modern jet airliner, was built here. In fact, and also the famous KC-135 Stratotankers, which is still in service to this day. They built the 727 here, but the most famous aircraft built here currently is the Boeing 737, which has been built here since 1967. And of course, they also built the 757s here too. Hey, Infidel Fireman, good to see you. So, and this here is the Renton factory, guys. Let's take a look at the Renton factory, shall we? This will be good. And this here is the Renton aircraft factory here in Renton. Oh, this is cool. Yeah, they're currently making the 737 Maxes. So we got to see all the different components into making the Renton planes. They have all the fuselage stuff here. This is all the fuselages, the airframes. This basically is an assembly plant. But right here, they're going to put on the engines for these. These are probably near built. Then they stick the fuselages together, and then they do the final attach to the front, and they get shipped off here. And of course, this side is where all this goes from the beginning, by the way. We take the airframe, we have all the wings, the tails, then there's the rear tail piece, and you see how all these 737s are built. And look at this, there's even a moving factory line. Pretty cool. And you got to see how, piece by piece, how every 737 gets built. Absolutely incredible. And then, once we do it, then the 737 is completed. I mean, this is just exceptionally well done. I mean, I look at this. Then they put the seats. Once they put more seats. They put all the other stuff. Load them into the plane. I mean, guys, the detail in this airport is just so amazing. I don't think we're ever going to get an airport like... this is one of the best airports you can buy for this. Absolutely incredible. I mean, this just goes to show you scale of all this being built. Just incredible. So yeah, this guy's here is the Boeing written scenery from Drzyzki Designs. It is worth 19 US dollars, but it's absolutely worth every penny, especially if you love Boeings like me. Absolutely worth it. Incredible, incredible scenery. Yeah, absolutely awesome scenery. So yeah, that is the Boeing Renton factory. We're going to go ahead and take back off. But yeah, absolutely awesome, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the little tour over the facility. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm sorry if I talk too much. You know, I just get very, very excited for all this sort of stuff. Now, unfortunately, I think someone is green seared for Boeing Field, but and we're off. Yeah, we're gonna say goodbye to Renton and say hello to the next airfield we will be visiting on today's tour. We'll be heading our way over to Boeing Field here. But yeah, the Boeing Renton factory is made for the 737 MAXs and the P-8. The factory itself has over 1.1 million square feet of floor space, and it has its own rail spur which railway trains connect to the factory. So, Launch Ice Cube, good to see you. Yeah, you had a great show going there. Oh, thank you so much, Milosh. They also improved the 737. It's still an old-fashioned plane. Yeah, it's still kind of old-fashioned, but they have made improvements to it. So we're going to go over to Boeing Field, but first, at Boeing Field, there is the Museum of Flight. Unfortunately, I won't be making there this year, but I'm hoping if I ever do go back, we'll be visiting there. Opened back in 1965, it is the private non-for-profit Air and Space Museum here. It's the largest private aerospace museum in the world, attracting 500,000 visitors every year. And it has more than 150 different aircraft in its collection. They include Boeings, Lockheeds. They also have the DHC Comet. Of course, they also have a Concorde. They have a Concorde. You know, the airline that goes supersonic. They also got Dreamliners. And of course, they even got a Boeing 247 on display here as well. They also have featured the Red Barn, the original manufacturing plant here. You can take a tour over the Red Barn, which is really, really cool. And then Boeing Field, obviously, Kilo Bravo Foxtrot India. It's at, there in Boeing Field. Boeing Field has been around since, when it was constructed in 1928. It was the main passenger airport for Seattle until Seattle Tacoma International in the 40s. Then it became a secondary airport for Seattle until it moved into that facility. But there are many different facilities here in Boeing Field. They include the Boeing Company handles all the facilities at the airport, including the final preparations for 737 delivery and test flights are made here at the airport. Obviously, the Museum of Flight, which, by the way, the museum is down here. Unfortunately, it doesn't really show in cinema, unfortunately, for some reason. Of course, Kenmore Air, but the only ones doing passenger operations here are Kenmore Air, actually. They operate two destinations around Washington and Canada. And of course, this is also what cargo planes are doing here. UPS and Airpac Airlines do flights here. So that is a bit about Boeing Field. Yeah, it's still no fly-by-wire. Yeah, the Boeing 737s don't really have fly-by-wire. So there's the Museum of Flight over here. There's the museum. All this up here, this is where Boeing does all their deliveries and stuff. This is where Boeing does it, right here. There's Boeing Airport. Yeah, because airlines didn't want to take the cost of upgrading their pilots with adequate type rating for new planes. Yeah, that's probably was a thing too. Absolutely. Absolutely agree. Like, that's why Airbus has, Airbus has one advantage over Boeing, is because since Airbus has very similar cockpits, there's very little training cost to train pilots how to operate from operating it. Because the cockpits of a 737, for example, earlier model 737 and a newer one is very different, but an older Airbus cockpit and a newer Airbus cockpit are almost exactly the same. So this right here is one of the railroad terminals here in Seattle. You see, Seattle is a railroad town as well. It's a major railroad hub here in the Pacific Northwest. We get turned to the left a little bit. And then there is downtown Seattle to our right. So yeah, I'm glad to see you're all doing well here, guys. So for some news, TimWorks Studios is currently almost about done with the Dash 7, which I'm very, very excited for. Because I can't wait for the Dash 7, because for guys who don't know, the Dash 7 is basically a 4-engine Twin Otter. Which, if you know me, I really do like the Twin Otter. But yeah, Pilots is going to get it to the end of this month, and hopefully it comes out at the end of September, maybe early October. I've seen 6 of those. Oh yeah, the Dash 7, there's 6 of them. Yeah, I'm very, very excited to see the D8, the Dash 7. I mean, that's definitely gonna be a must for me. And there'll definitely be some really good routes in Canada that I can fly into, like Yellowknife, all the way up in the north. Yukon would be perfect for that thing. Let's go ahead. Turned right. Yeah, this thing also has autopilot too, which is really nice for really long flights. Or for me at least, so this guys here is the big old port of Seattle, Washington. This is Seattle's port. It is one of the largest airports and terminals here at the port. It is one of the lean economic engines here in the Pacific Northwest, operated by a 5-man core commission, serve 4-year terms each. So this here is the mighty port of Seattle. That's what really helps make Seattle such a big-time manufacturing city. So here's downtown Seattle. You can see Smith Tower and Columbia Center up here. Oh yeah, wait for some good turboprop commuters. Oh yes, the Dash 8s. Yes, Dash 8 in the ATR. Yes, I want those turboprops. Yeah, I think once we get more of these planes, it'd be perfect. So yeah, now we're entering turn right, and we're gonna enter two of Seattle's premier sporting venues. Knowing me as a huge sports fan, I really love this in here. So the first one to our left, this one here, right here, is T-Mobile Park, home of the Seattle Mariners since 1999, when it opened at Safeco. 47,929 fans attend games here at Safeco. It's also been used for amateur baseball events, including for Washington High School, and of course, one game a year by the Washington Huskies baseball program. Play here at T-Mobile. The one next to it is Lumen Field. It used to be CenturyLink Field in Quest Stadium. This multi-purpose stadium is the home of the Seattle Seahawks of the National Football League, and of course, it's also home to the Major League Soccer's Seattle Sounders, who will be playing in their first FIFA Club World Cup in 2022. Both places are massive, yeah. Of course, the thing Lumen Field is most famous for is it's one of the loudest stadiums in the world. In fact, it twice held the record for the Guinness World Record for the loudest crowd roar by an outdoor stadium. In 2013, it was at 136.6 decibels. And then the next year, they followed up with 137.6 decibels of crowd noise. Now you may think, and you wonder if that's a lot. You're right. In comparison, a jet plane's engine, by the way, the decibels of a jet plane engine is from a range of 120 to 140 decibels. That means a game at Lumen Field is comparable to a jet engine. And a lot of that has to do with the crowd noise. It's due to the stadium structure for some reason. It's absolutely insane. In truck horns, yes. I mean, it's absolutely insane. And that's what gives Seattle such a huge home field advantage for the Seahawks. You put in a stadium that loud and that tough, I mean, that's going to drive opposing fans crazy. It's nuts. And then T-Mobile Park is also going to be hosting the next MLB All-Star Game in 2023. Its unique features, of course, is the retractable roof. But the unique thing about its roof, though, is unlike other retractable roof facilities, it doesn't fully cover the stadium. It acts more like an umbrella. And apparently this retractable roof, each section of the roof is powered by electric motors, and they can close the roof in only about a few minutes. It only takes a few minutes to open and close the roofs. There also features multiple club service activities as well. It also features the Mariners Hall of Fame Museum, and they can give tours of the facility. They also got a statue of Dave Niehaus, the legendary Mariners broadcaster. And of course, many famous players played here at the stadium. Ken Griffey Jr., Ichiro Suzuki played here, and Felix Hernandez. And his perfect game were here at T-Mobile Park. Which, if you wonder how I know all this, I did a whole baseball series back when I started streaming. So I did a whole baseball series. I've still had the thoughts. In fact, Seattle was the last city I did this tour. Maybe at some point I can restart the city tour series. Maybe my baseball tour series once again. Maybe at some point in the next couple years. Not now, but in the future, I may want to restart it. Or do something brand new. This is T-Mobile Park. At the time of the sim, this was Safeco Field. This was Safeco at the time. I'm gonna go ahead and go for the active pause. So I can get me a screenshot. And this was CenturyLink Field. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, I like to do these screenshots and post them in the Discord. I just posted the Discord link for each of them. And this here is CenturyLink Field. This is Lumen Field. So one of the most famous games that played here at the stadium was on January 8th, 2011, during a playoff game, known as the Beastquake, when Marshawn Lynch ran the football during that time against the Saints in the playoffs. He scored a 67-yard rushing touchdown, and the fans were so crazy, and the celebration so crazy, that it actually registered on a nearby seismograph, which led the game to be known as the Beastquake. Yes, Seattle fans are so crazy that the stadium causes an earthquake in the seismometer. But Lumen Field gave Seattle fans a huge advantage at home as well. That's why it's one of the most difficult places in the National Football League to play against, for a good reason. That's why they call it the 12th man, for a reason. In addition to this, it would also be hosting the 2026 FIFA World Cup. It would be one of the stadiums there as well. So just giving some interesting information. Then we have the Klondike Gold Rush facility, which is down over here. So down over here is the Klondike Gold Rush. Now, the the Pioneer Square district here has made the buildings date back to the 1880s and 1890s. The Cadillac Hotel was a major point during the Gold Rush Stampede, which sent many people here to Seattle, and they often go from there to Alaska for many of its Gold Rush journeys. Then we get to one of Seattle's most iconic and beloved buildings. Now, over right here to our right is Smith Tower. Smith Tower was one of the tallest skyscrapers that came around in the city. It's the oldest one in the city, and it was one of the tallest skyscrapers outside of New York with its construction at 484 feet. As well, it's a shining example of neoclassical architecture, and it was one of the last buildings of the West Coast to employ elevator operators. Yeah, that was Smith Tower, and then the one next to it. This tower up here, this is the Columbia Center. This is the tallest building here in Seattle, 933 feet high. It's primarily leased by Class A office spaces for various companies. And the observation tower on top of it is the highest public viewing area west of the Mississippi River. So it's actually the tallest building here in Seattle. So there's the Smith Tower. We're going to climb up a bit and reach our way to the top of the Columbia Center. Yeah, this is downtown Seattle. Also, Seattle is also the birthplace for Starbucks. If you ever know where your Starbucks coffee comes from, there's a good chance it was founded here in Seattle. Yeah, this is downtown Seattle, Washington. Here is Columbia Tower. This is the tallest building here, and you have amazing views of downtown Washington. Yeah, downtown Seattle in the future. Just absolutely incredible. That's what I like about this Drifter Ultralight. You can get to the top of things pretty easily. Just gonna go ahead and just lower the power bit and let this thing just lose speed. Then we're gonna go ahead to the Seattle Aquarium, opened in 1977. This aquarium here in Seattle is recently going through quite a few expansions. Oh, one of them is going to be opening in 2024. So there's the Seattle Aquarium down below us as well. Is there a visitor terrace up there? I think so, Beethoven, but check for the research. I don't think there was much. However, we're going to visit one of the great wonders here in Seattle, the Pike Place Market. This world famous market came around in 1907. It's one of the oldest continuously operated public markets in the country, overlooking Elliott Bay. It serves as a place of business for many small farmers, craftspeople, and merchants. And of course, this thing is world famous for the fish market, where employees throw 3-foot salmon and other fish to each other rather than pass by hand. So yes, they do salmon toss here at Pike Place. Just doing this to lower the... Yeah, I'm glad that... So here's Seattle. There's the waterfront. Means Seattle. Let's see if we can find it somewhere. Oh yeah, there it is. Pike Place. There it is, the world famous Pike Place Market. There's one final historical building we want to mention. So this building here is actually a very famous performance venue. It's called the Showbox. You know, Seattle's got lots of musical venues to visit here in Seattle. So the Showbox is one of the most famous. It was founded in 1939. It's hosted many diverse musical acts, from the jazz era to the grunge. It's featured shows from legendary artists like Duke Ellington, rock bands like the Ramones, and of course grunge stars Soundgarden, for example, are some of the many bands featured in the Showbox. And they hosted a bunch of other bands too. And there's all other acts that performed here, from Nat King Cole to Iggy Pop to Dave Matthews. Billy Idol has done it. Maroon 5. Coldplay, and more. Of course, it was originally about to be torn down and redeveloped into an apartment, but thankfully, Seattle musicians like Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, and Macklemore supported the petition to keep the Showbox, and thankfully, it's still now here to this day. Thankfully, as a concert hall for a lot of talented upcoming musicians here in Seattle. No. Yep. So that is a bit. So to our left is the Seattle Convention Center. There's the Convention Center. And then to our right here is another Seattle institution, one of the many feeders and entertainment venues. This one here is there's the Seattle Convention Center. Now the Seattle Convention Center here is most famous for hosting the PAX West, the Penny Arcade Expo, Emerald City Comic Con, Sakura Con, and the Northwest Flower and Garden Show. about 415,000 square feet of usable space with 2 exhibition halls, with a combined area of 237,000 square feet, are hosted here at the Seattle Convention Center. And then next to it is the Paramount Theater in Seattle. The famous Paramount was opened back in the 20s. Though as of 2009, it's operated as a venue for various performing arts, serves as a patron base for Broadway theater, concerts, dance, comedy, family engagements, silent films, and more. And it's still one of the busiest films in the region in terms of old-fashioned theaters. Still a major deal for a lot of people who love entertainment here in Seattle. Calm yourself down, Piper. Calm yourself down. Of course, we see the big old Space Needle. There's the big old Space Needle in front of us. Can't wait to talk about the good old Space Needle. Hey, Mongo7, good to see you. Mongo, great to see you, my friend. We're in Seattle for a big city tour. So, guys, so I'm going to be planning on doing a airliner stream on Wednesday. If you guys have any ideas for what I want to do for that stream, I have a Discord. Click the link. So we're here at the Beagle Seattle Center. So there's quite a few areas here I want to mention. Okay. So let's start with the first place below us. So below us here is the Seattle Pacific Science Center here in Seattle. This science center came around during the 1960s. It sits on 7.1 acres of land. In the southwest corner of the Seattle Center, it offers year-round youth, teen, family, and adult programs featuring summer camps in various locations, and Science Day 21 Plus events, and research weekends here. And its main goal is to ignite curiosity and fuel passion for discovery, experimentation, and critical thinking. So this thing even has its own IMAX theater too. But of course, there is one major landmark here in this area that I think, when most people think of Seattle, Washington, think of landmarks, they think of probably one building in particular. Yeah, this one. This here is the legendary Seattle Space Needle. It is a real icon of Seattle. So the legendary Space Needle, the iconic Space Needle, this observation tower was built in 1962 for the 1962 World's Fair. It has been designated as a Seattle landmark, and it drew over 2.3 million visitors during the World's Fair. It was once the tallest structure west of the Mississippi, standing at 605 feet, with a 138 feet wide tower, and it weighs 9,550 short tons. It's built to withstand winds up to 200 miles an hour and earthquakes up to 9.0 magnitude. So yeah, this is wind and earthquake resistant. Its famous observation deck reached 520 feet above ground, giving you amazing views of the downtown Seattle skyline, the Olympic and Cascade Mountains, Mount Rainier, Mount Baker, and the various islands in the Puget Sound. It takes 41 seconds to get up to the top of the elevators. And it's appeared in many television shows and films, like Frasier, Grey's Anatomy, Bill Nye the Science Guy. It's featured in Austin Powers' 1991 movie, Spy Who Shagged Me. It's also been incorporated in many team logos of the NBA, WNBA, MLS, and NHL sports teams have featured the needle in many of its logos. So yeah, this building is an absolute icon of Seattle, Washington. And Asomo made this a handcrafted POI, and this thing looks amazing. I mean, it's stunning. Let's get this. It's an awesome. Without question, this is Seattle's most iconic now. And yes, I'll be heading to Seattle there on Sunday, and I'm hoping if they take us through the ports, I'll definitely grab a screenshot of the tower. That's just stunning. Of course, that's not the only stuff here. So down below us is Memorial Stadium. There's also the Museum of Pop Culture, I forgot, is right next to the tower. Here's the Museum of Pop Culture. Dedicated, founded in 2000 by Paul Allen. It was founded by Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen and organized dozens of exhibits all about pop culture and traditions here in the United States. Featured tons of exhibits from around the country and the world, in fact. And then below us is Memorial Stadium. This outdoor stadium is used for the Seattle School District football games and for Ultimate Disc League. Around 12,000 people can attend seating venues here at Memorial Stadium. Yeah, that's a tall terrain spike. No, that's not a terrain spike. That's a radio tower spike, actually. Not a terrain spike. It's a radio tower. That's not a terrain spike. That's a radio tower. And finally, is the last facility here, in the Seattle Center. This is the last of downtown Seattle we're going to be visiting in the sim. And this here is actually the last sporting venue we're going to be visiting here today. Well, this here is actually Climate Pledge Arena. This place went through a lot of change since from what it looked like in the sim. It went through a massive redevelopment from 2016 onwards. But the arena was originally built in 1960. It opened in 62. It was the home of the Seattle Redhawks men's basketball program. Of course, most famously as the home of the Seattle Supersonics from 1985 to 2008, along with the originals in 67 to 78. And then it also hosted the Seattle Storm WNBA team. And of course, it's currently now home to Seattle's newest team, the Seattle Kraken. This venue has a seating capacity of around 17,151 for hockey, 18,000 for basketball. And it went through a lot of renovations, and this place is now a first-class sporting venue here in Seattle. It features a pair of 6-side seated scoreboards, a huge center-hung scoreboard as well. And like its name says, they're going to aim for net zero certification by having all events be zero waste, using compostable containers and reduction of plastic. They use captured rainwater for the surface of its ice. And at least 75% of the food here is from local producers here in Seattle. And they hosted many concerts. In fact, the Beatles performed there in the concert twice. Elvis did here. Bruce Springsteen performed here 4 times. And the first after renovation performance came from the Foo Fighters in 2021. So that is Climate Pledge Arena here in Seattle. So this is the last sporting venue here in Seattle. So yeah, let's get back to the plane. Try to clip one last picture. Yes, because you know me, I love clipping pictures for the Discord, so you guys can take a look at all my pics. So, okay. So now we're blasted out of, now we're out of downtown Seattle. So right here, we're going to be, this right here is the cruise port. This is where I'm most likely going to end up on next Sunday, where we take off here from Smith Cove. So this is where a lot of the cruise ships end up here, and that's where we're going to be heading out to Alaska, which I'm very, very excited to actually go visit Alaska. So I want to ask you all in the chat. I hope you guys are currently having a great weekend so far, having a great time with all you guys here. So, and thank you guys for being in the chat, not just talking, but in the work too. Thank you guys so much for coming here. And Thomas, I still want to thank you for the raid. That was really awesome of you to raid the channel today. This area here is an absolutely stunning. So down to our right here, this is where Seattle seaplanes are usually at. We're just going to cruise around today. But man, it's stunning out here today. The clouds, stunning. Dude, yeah, I made 48 slides and we've gotten through 37 of them today. We're got only a few more. So yeah, I want to ask you guys in the chat. I hope you guys have had a good weekend. If you feel comfortable with it, I hope you all have a good weekend. I mean, I've been working on the Route 66 stuff for the next series in September. So definitely check that out, and we'll be directly following the road, and I'll be discussing all out the landmarks, because Route 66, there's tons of historic landmarks in the road. So I'll be discussing each of them in all of the some of the major towns and places and communities here around the highway. So this should be a really fun series to do. And I can't wait to show you guys this theory in Tacoma. But man, absolutely beautiful. A massive shout out to you guys. Thank you so much. going across through here, we'll be visiting another port, Mariana. We have Longo, we have Colba. I mean, I just love this. Such a good one. Yeah, I can't wait for that. I stayed at the ranch off Route 66. Oh, by the way, it's the Baghdad Cafe from the movie. Ooh, Token Brown, good to see you. Oh, that's pretty cool. Well, Baghdad Cafe. Oh, that's in the Mojave Desert. It's located in Baghdad, California. Yeah, I'll probably be flying over that, over Baghdad during our trip. It's actually a ghost town. We're gonna go now. We're gonna fly over Woodland Park Zoo. This wildlife conservation organization is found here in the Phoenix region of Seattle. It's won over 65 awards across multiple categories and has served 1.4 billion domestic and international visitors in 2019. It's very famous for its exhibit design, being one of the first zoos in the world to be based off their zoo based on the environment the animal live in, rather than just the animal in its environment. And its natural born scenery makes it one of the few really unique zoos in the country. Here's the Woodland Park Zoo. Tons of trees. I mean, it makes a whole new meaning of Woodland Park. There's the zoo. But then we're going to get to a pretty major landmark here. Now we're heading to the University of Washington, known as the Huskies, by the way. Yes, there are a lot of teams named after Huskies, but this one is UW, Washington. This university was established all the way back in 1861. It's one of the oldest universities here in the West Coast, known for its medical, engineering, and scientific research. And it also has deep historical ties and collaborations with many different technology giants like Boeing, Microsoft, and Amazon. Its 22 varsity sports teams are highly competitive, known as the Huskies. They compete in the Pac-12 Conference, Division I, and they also represent the Olympic Games, the U.S. at the Olympics as well. Yeah, it's been around since the beginning of the latter half of the 19th century. And University of Washington is one of the great academic schools in the country. Been very high rated, among the top 60 universities in the country in terms of academics. And the Huskies have many famous alumni of Washington. They include Joe Suter, the head of the 747 design team, Bruce Lee, the famous martial arts and actor who did all sorts of his famous movies. And of course, Happy Boyington, World War II combat ace of the Flying Tigers, was a University of Washington alumni for the University of Washington. So yeah, very well-known university here in Washington State. But let's go ahead and tour the university for a second. So we'll be visiting the campus of beautiful UW. This is taking an image of the beautiful campus here. Let's go around. So yeah, this is the campus of Washington. So let's talk about the facilities here at the University of Washington. There's two particular facilities I want to talk about here. So first, is the smallest of the two facilities. There we go. So this here is Heck Edmondson Pavilion. Officially, it's known as Alaska Airlines Arena. It's the home of the University of Washington men and women's basketball program, along with their volleyball and gymnastic program. This brick venue has been around since 1927. It's hosted 10,000 people for basketball. The attendance record for the building is 12,961 during the 1957 high school basketball tournament here in Washington. It's been named Alaska Airlines Arena after the renovations. It was sponsored by them in 2011. It's hosted the Final Four twice, in 1949 and 1952. Grateful Dead played at the arena in 1974, playing the longest single song of their career here. 46 minutes of the song playing in the band. Yes, they played a 46-minute song. I know Planet Neutral might know something about the Grateful Dead, if he's still here in chat. They played here at the pavilion for 46 minutes for a single song. And in 2019, University of Washington became the first men's program to record 1,000 wins in the same building here in Washington. However, the real star of University of Washington sport events is the football. And it's the football facility. They get to play in one of the nation's loudest and proudest sporting venues here. And this here is the mighty fine facility, Husky Stadium here in Seattle. In fact, this might be one of the only places in Seattle that might rival Moon Field in terms of loudness. But Husky Stadium has been around since 1920 as the home of the University of Washington Huskies football program. It was originally built in 1920 with a seat capacity of 30,000, but they have expanded the capacity to the peak of 72,000. Currently, it now seats 70,000 fans here in Seattle. It was the primary venue for the 1990 Goodwill Games that was created by Ted Turner. It also was the temporary home for the Seattle Seahawks for 5 games in 1994 and 2000. Originally was natural grass, then it became one of the first teams to play on AstroTurf. Then it was replaced with field turf in 2000. They also made more improvements here, but Husky Stadium is most famous for 2 things. Actually, there are 3 things Husky Stadium is very famous for. First, the first audience wave was originated here at Husky Stadium on Halloween 1981, accompanying of the band trumpeter Dave Hunter at the time, though it was documented at Oakland Coliseum 2 weeks earlier. But the big thing Husky Stadium is very famous is its loudness. And that's because the stadium is designed, due to the stadium's design having 70% of the seat between the end zones, and the cantilever metal roof, and that traps a lot of the sound. In fact, on one game against Nebraska in 1992 on September 19th, ESPN recorded the noise decibel to be 130 decibels. 130. It's still the loudest ESPN recorded for a college football game here in Husky Stadium. It's loud. And of course, one of the last major things about Husky Stadium is its tailgating. You see, not only does it have car tailgating, if you turn to your left, you can actually travel to games here by boat, because it's very unusual. Not many other facilities in the country have it. In fact, only 3 other venues in the country for college football fit to sailgate it. The other ones being Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, and the McLean Stadium at Baylor. And up to 12,000 people can be at the Lake, Washington. Of course, Curly went through a 2013 renovation to really modernize the place, and it's now one of the truly great stadiums in college football. So yeah, if you ever want to watch a college football game for the weekend, definitely want to check out Husky Stadium. But yeah, that is University of Washington for you, for the Huskies, the good boys. Whoop, whoop. But yeah, it's a very impressive college football venue. And University of Washington football has had a long history. They even have a few national championships in the book. Most recently, 1991 was their most recent national championship for football. Though they have claimed 2 national championships in 1960 and 1991, and 3 unclaimed titles. Washington football's won 17 conference titles in the Pac, with their major rivalries being Oregon and Washington State. Their team colors obviously purple and gold, and they have featured many famous Hall of Fame players from both college and professional. The most famous and legendary player to play in the pros is Warren Moon. He wasn't just a legend in American football. I think Warren Moon was even more dominant in Canadian football. And of course, University of Washington's rivalries are definitely pretty cool. So yeah, it's definitely one of the premier colleges in the Pacific Northwest. And now we turn left here. We're going to turn back right. One final tour. There's the baseball stadium here in American Alaska Airlines Arena. Yeah, I hope you guys are liking the city tour so far. I hope you guys are enjoying it. It's you guys whose opinion really matters the most. Yes, yeah, I got the actual decibel level. Yeah, 133.6. That's loud. That's really, really loud. So the next place on our list is we're going to be heading out to Bellevue, Washington, the 3rd largest city in the Seattle metropolitan area. It's known as a satellite city and such. It's home to some of the world's largest technology companies, like Microsoft and Amazon make their home here in Bellevue, and more than 145 companies have been located here in Bellevue. Yeah, we're going to be heading to Bellevue today. But man, it's absolutely gorgeous here. What a great time to live. Here's Bellevue, Washington. It's known for its art museums. It's known for it's being the headquarters of many different companies like Amazon. Or once we do it, we're going to turn left once we reach downtown. another thing that's going on, I know it's another sports thing, you know, I'm a big fan of it. College football season came on. Yesterday was the start of the major college football season. I know we've had a couple of games since then, but this was really the real start. And I can't believe that Louisville just dropped the effing ball against Syracuse. Like, really? Really, Louisville? That's not how you start your third season under Satterfield. You don't drop games like that. Just Syracuse is supposed to be the last, and that. Tell me about it. We're actually visiting now. We're going to be visiting Microsoft's HQ, the Microsoft Redmond campus, the corporate headquarters of Microsoft. Over 8 million square feet of office space, over 50,000 employees are here. Additional offices are in the east side suburbs of Seattle, are located here in Bellevue. Building 92 campus contains a visitor center that's open to the public. It's been around since 1986 when it was built on a 29-acre plot of land. It has 83 different buildings, though the company has 125 total in the region, and you can get here through the freeway, buses, and even its own commuter bus service called the Connector. Yeah. But thank you guys so much. 24 people, that's awesome. I'm glad you guys stuck around for the stream. It's really nice for you guys sticking around onto my streams. I hope you guys, and I'm hoping that for me, it makes me happy to see you guys taking some of the knowledge that I've learned on streams for my research. So you guys can come away pretty impressed. And you guys actually get to enjoy the content. Yeah. And let's see. Now I'm hoping for Sim Update. I wonder if Sim Update 10 is going to happen while I'm gone on vacation. So here it is, guys. So this here is Microsoft's corporate HQ building. And here it is, guys. Welcome to Microsoft. Yeah, this is the Microsoft campus and buildings. These are all the different buildings here at Microsoft. I mean, it's massive. This is the campus. This is an entire campus full of buildings you can see. Yeah, this is where a lot of Microsoft products as well. Love the content. Hope you monetize your account. I'm hoping to monetize. I hope to monetize at some point in the future. I still need to get a job first, so I can get a stable income for it. Because if I do it now, I would have to pay taxes, and I'm not at that point yet to pay for my own taxes yet. I would love to monetize it and to show you guys appreciation. But for now, I think you guys in the chat, I think is more enough support, along with the follows and raids. I think it makes me more than happy. For now, I would be more than happy for that. That's why I want to reach my goals to 500 followers. you don't have a job? I'm 23 and still have no job. Yeah, I'm 27. It's because I've been in college for a long time, and not only that, but I've also I have autism, by the way. So I'm still waiting for job offers and all that to come my way, as well. Yeah, I'm still waiting for my job offers because I'm currently working with someone to help me get job applications and all that going forward, so I can transition to one. But yeah, I'm hoping I would get a job. So I would like to have one, make some money, and be more independent. But I guess that's just the way things are going right now with COVID and all that. It's really hard for me to find a position. But hey, being here with you guys is really awesome to be around. But yeah, this is Microsoft's corporate HQ. I mean, it's very expansive campus. It's a big expansion campus. So. Autopilot. Oh, who's this? Oh, Beethoven 1102 Fall. Beethoven, thank you so much. Thank you for being in the chat today. It was great to have you on chat as well. So thank you so much for following. But yeah, you guys are what makes this channel possible. It's you guys' support. You guys are so important for my channel. So you guys will always be appreciated. So we're heading out towards Warren G. Magazine Park. So some interesting info about this park coming up. Really, I'm also autistic. Someone with autism. I met more than a few people with autism myself. I've been around special needs kids, so I know how it is. Hey, I'm a high-functioning autism person, Typhon. I have high-functioning autism, so I'm doing fine. And I usually have an aide that helps me through college. Oh, thanks for your sightseeing trip. I'm going to be heading out by. Take care, Beethoven. Thank you so much for coming to my channel today. Thanks for coming along and joining along in chat. I really appreciate you coming. Thank you so much. I hope to see you again soon. Take care, Beethoven. I easily mince words, and my tone of voice is not great when I become too sure. Oh, don't worry about Typhon. I mean, it took me a while to get used to college and all that with my autism, so it took me a bit to adjust to a new environment. It takes me a bit of a while, but I have such amazing parents. My parents have been so awesome helping me out that I managed to get through college, and I learned how to speak better through my speech stuff. Yeah, getting through it, I think it's no issues. Hey, Captain Spitfire, good to see you. I mean, you've been hanging out with a lot of the vintage planes lately. I'm getting a little jealous. But no, Captain Spitfire, it's great to have you here today. So Magazine Park is located here at the Sandpoint neighborhood of Seattle. It's 350 acres. It's the second largest park in Seattle after Discovery Park in Magnolia. It's located at the site of the former Naval Station Puget Sound. The Naval Air Station Puget Sound was the starting point, was the end point of the first aerial circumnavigation in the world in 1924. And this historic flight helped to develop into a naval air station. It was used during World War II as a facility to train a lot of the naval aviators. But outside of that, though, it's known for several sports fields, picnic areas, swimming beach, public sailboating, and more. It's also been home to quite a few concerts, mainly Pearl Jam hosted a concert here in 1992. It's had a couple of sports fields, but it's also known as for its wetlands, as it's known for the second richest bird habitat in any park in Seattle. home to hummingbirds, chickadees, and pine siskins. And of course, it's got Seattle's biggest playground here too. And here's Magnuson Park. This used to be the former Naval Air Station here in Seattle. So yeah, Captain Spitfire, earlier today we flew over Tacoma. We visited the Boeing Renton factory in Renton Municipal. We got to learn how 737s were made. And we got to fly over downtown Seattle. We got to see the world famous Space Needle. Yeah, we learned all about history and stuff. We had a huge raid from Tolos earlier. 71 people raided my stream. I mean, that was pretty awesome. Yeah, this stream has been amazing, guys. Thank you so much. So we have a couple more land points. First is Kidmore Air. Yes, and before you ask, it's not a fake thing. Kidmore Air is very real, funnily enough. But Kidmore Air was founded in 1946. It's an American airline. It offers scheduled and chartered seaplane and landplane services to destinations throughout western Washington and southwestern British Columbia, as well as flight sites around Seattle. In addition to its corporate headquarters in Kenmore, it also has hub operations for seaplanes at Seattle's Lake Union and land places at Boeing Field. Its fleet consists of 26 aircraft. They include DH-2 Beaver and Turbine Beavers, the Turbine Otter, DH-3 Turbo Otter, Cessna 180s, two-way Grand Caravans, a Cessna 172, a Piper Super Cub, and a Pilatus PC-12 for long-range stuff as well. But it's most well known for being part of Microsoft Flight Simulator. It actually originally appeared in Microsoft Flight Simulator X in 2006, FSX, when a Kenmore Cessna 208 Caravan appears in Stika Approach and Whiteout. It later appeared in Microsoft Flight Simulator in 2021, in the March 2021 update. It's now in all propeller-driven planes from the default propeller-driven planes, along with the Cessna Citation jets. Isn't that cool or what? So yes, it's a real airline, funnily enough, not a fake. And they operate here out of Kenmore Air Harbor, known as Sierra 60. This seaport is a seaplane base here in the north end of Lake Washington, used by regional seaplane airliner Kenmore Air. There's two seaplane areas, 1634, which is 10,000 feet, and 18336 is 3,000 feet of water runways. Most of it is air taxi and GA. And they fly all over the place in many different harbors and ports around the Pacific Northwest. So yeah, this is Kenmore Harbor down below us. You know what I think would be really cool? Is if some of these seaports gain, maybe these seaports gain the same as, like the handcrafted airports. I would love to see if some more work done for the seaplane bases. I mean, just imagine if, for example, I think if they ever did that, I would love to see Kenmore get that development. See Kenmore Air Harbor, for example, get the handcrafted treatment. Would be really cool. I mean, it would make sense. We already have Kenmore planes with their liveries. Why not have the real life airport? Yeah, Kenmore's a pretty well-known airline. They do all sorts of charters and activities here. They do all sorts of things you can do here, flights in charge. You can do scenic flights around Seattle, Mount Rainier. You can do whale watching activities from your plane around Kenmore. fishing and crabbing activities. They drop you off somewhere and you can do fish and crab fishing. Or flying paddling and stuff. Kenmore has lots of stuff. So yeah, definitely some very interesting stuff about Kenmore, by the way. And let me post a link for the website if you guys want to check out the real-life Kenmore area. I was actually considering taking Shock Ultra for this trip because of Kenmore. But I decided, you know, for today, you know what, I'm going to fund the George Ultra way. But yeah, we're getting to the final part of the journey for today's trip. So yeah, thank you guys so much for coming today. So many new people. Thank you guys for the new follows. Thomas World with the massive 71 viewer raid. The new follows, Draco6, Mrs. JoJo, Ewalt26, Jay Cooper, and Beethoven 1102. Thank you guys so much for the follows and for being around this channel. It's fantastic to have all the new faces here. Let's see who's flying with us still. Who's still in the air with us? Mongo's still here in the kit box. Is still here. It's interesting they have autism. The other flight center I know is Noise Boy. Ah. Oh yeah, Noise Boy is using a Fabio's chat. Razor Firefly with the follow. Thank you guys. Thank you so much, Razor Firefly, for the follow. I really appreciate it. Yeah, what a beautiful day in Seattle. Absolutely incredible. Now we're finally getting to the last two slides for today. So, last two. First is the big O Boeing Everett factory. Now, there have been many factories. Boeing has had many operations around this area, but this is their biggest factory by far. So the Boeing Everett factory here was originally built in 1967 here at the northeast corner of Payne Field, and by volume, it is the largest balloon in the world, with a volume of, get this, 13,385,378 cubic meters, or 472,370,319 cubic feet. It covers a site of 98 acres. 98 acres of land. But they mainly built this as to produce the mighty Boeing 747, which, as we know, is called the Queen of the Skies. It's still one of my favorite Boeings. But it has since expanded many times throughout the decades to accommodate new airliners. The Boeing 767, the 777, and the 787 Dreamliner. As of 2020, 150,000 people come each year to visit the factory. It also features its own fire department, security team, daycare center, coffee shop, and fitness center. But in fact, however, the last Boeing 747 was made earlier this year, I believe. I think it's earlier this month or last month. They produced the final 7847 model, the 747-800 freighter, the Atlas Air. They also made the Boeing 767, featuring in production the 767-300 freighter, and the Boeing 777. Now they used to produce the 787 here in Everett. However, that work's moved to the plant here in Charleston, North Carolina. They also do the future of flights. Oh, you're very welcome. Yes. So this is the Boeing factory here. And then we get to Payne Field. Kilo Papa Alpha Echo. This is where Porter often gets his stream started. But this airport's got a long history. It's been around since 1936, built by the Works Progress Administration and beginning commercial service here in 1939. It was named after Toddler Olin Payne, an Army Air Corps pilot. In 1941, the Army Air Corps used this during World War II as an Air Force base until 1951, and then it regained back as a commercial airport hub. And there's still major airport services today. Mainly Alaska Airlines has used it for their services to Anchorage, Boise, Las Vegas, Orange County Airport, which is John Wayne, Phoenix, San Diego, San Francisco, and Spokane. But it's also been used by FedEx for cargo trips to Memphis. So yeah, that's it. And of course, you can also take tours of the Boeing factory in Everett. Just do be warned, there are rules to touring the Everett factory. That means no cameras, no nothing. But yeah, and located here at Payne Field is the Future of Flight Aviation and Boeing Tour, opened back in 2005. And the facility contains comparison between the 707 and 787 fuselage, videos and presentation that illustrate the history of Boeing aircraft, a genuine 727 cockpit, various full-size planes, virtual rides in faraway places, history of all the jet planes here at Boeing, and more. And you can tour, and you can do the Boeing tour here of the Boeing Everett factory, which produces all the iconic Boeing planes. And of course, there's also the Boeing store. Now, there is a rule about going to do the tour, by the way. Note before you go. However, the Boeing factory is currently closed due to COVID, unfortunately, which sucks. But yeah, you can't have phones, you can't have cameras, you can't do a lot of that sort of stuff. This is Payne Field. This is done by none other than Freaky D. This is the newest version, and you can get this for free actually on FS Hub. Here's the Payne Field link, but it's the bottom one. So this is done by Freaky D, and he's done a really good job with it. It's a really, really nice freeware airport. It's very nice. It's a great freeware airport. And once we land here in Park, I'll be giving you a tour of the facility. So there's actually another airport that I'm going to land instead. We're going to land here. Someone's in a Boeing 737 MAX. I think that was one of the Breedock planes. Yep. Next. Yeah, I'm just gonna find somewhere to park. So yeah, and we'll be giving you a tour of this awesome facility, and then we'll find someone to raid. yeah, thank you guys so much for coming on to today's stream. I mean, you guys have been amazing today. It's a massive thank you, everyone. So let's see. Just gotta find some GA parking spot. Wow, this has been an amazing stream, guys. What an awesome stream, guys. Okay, I think I found a parking spot. There we go, guys. He knows. And that's it. So yeah, we parked here at Payne Field. So guys, let's go ahead and check out the scenery for a bit. This is freeware, guys. And this is actually a fantastic freeware, by the way. Freaky D made this. Let's go tour the facility for a little bit, shall we? So this is one of the 2 runways here at Payne Field. There's a smaller one right here. I could have landed there, but I decided to land at the bigger one. So you see some of these buildings here. There's like your aviation tech services here. Features all different aviation HQs. There's a Flying Heritage and Combat Armor Museum right here. The Flying Combat and Armor Museum's over here. Right there. There's that museum. This is Aviation Technical Services. But now we're going to get to some of the good areas here. This is Payne Field. So there's quite a few hangars and all that. And there's actually a little college here, Evergreen College of Community College of Aviation. This is their aviation school in this area. Then right over here is a Museum of Restoration, where they restore a lot of the older planes. But this area in particular is where we get to the really cool stuff. This is where the Boeing factory here in Everett's located. So this here contains all sorts of different Boeings as well. So you have there's some really cool examples. This is a Boeing 767 freighter. The difference between the 767 and the 777 is the 76 is shorter considerably, and it's in the beautiful UPS colors. They mostly operate out of Louisville, which is my local airport. There's a 747 cargo plane. I believe it's the 747-8 model for Nippon Cargo. This is another 767. Then we get to the glorious 777. This is Emirates Cargo. 777-300ER. This is from Emirates Airlines. Which the difference between the 76 and 777 is much, much larger. Like 76 is like tiny, small compared to 777. There's another 777. Then we get to more 777s as well from Turkish and Japan Airlines. Eva Air for cargo. Cafe Pacific. I mean, then there's another Emirates 777. But I mean, this I can't wait when PMDG comes out with their own 777. I'm very excited because I want to see more wide body airliners in the sim. I think that'll be great. And I know Captain Scam made one, but the PMDG 737 is going to blow them out of them. Oh yeah, I think I have no problem with you making more competitive streams. I don't want to sound competitive, but I can't see myself doing streams like this. Yeah, I think it'd be great. I think I would love to see you do streams like this. I think it'd be great, Super Typhon. Yeah, I think this would be perfect for you. Streams like this would be right in your wheelhouse. And then this building here, yeah, that's the Everett. That's the Everett factory. That's the Everett factory. It's as big as it looks. It is as big as it looks. It's absolutely massive. This is where they build the big Boeing wide bodies are built here. Now, unfortunately, he hasn't put anything similar to the factories, but that's the Boeing Everett factory and everything around it. And finally, one final really cool Boeing to show off. It is a 747 Dreamlifter. And this Dreamlifter is interesting. They take outside cargo and put this thing in there. And if you think that it looks weird seeing a Boeing look like this, consider when they made the Boeing 747 back in the 60s. This was meant to compete against the Lockheed C-5 Galaxy as a cargo plane. The 747 is a natural cargo plane. But the Dreamlifter came around in 1947, in 2006. They first flew. 4 of them have been built. They took the 747-400s and made them for the wider cargo. And they mainly use it to transport parts for the 787 Dreamliner. So yeah, that's pretty amazing. Yeah, Duke, like Dougal said, go for it. I will 100% support you doing streams like this. 100%. I would love to have some guys. So yeah, guys, that is it. So our sea tour of Seattle is complete. Guys, thank you so much for all the support on today's stream. Thomas, thank you so much for the raid. I'm going to give a massive shout out to all the new follows. From Darkos, Mrs. Jojo 1, DeWalt 26, J Cooper 38, Beethoven 1102, and Razor Firefly. Thank you guys so much for the new follows. Thank you guys so much. So today, we're gonna have to find someone to raid. This is tough. Who am I gonna pick to raid? Let me look at Twitch for a second, if you guys don't mind. So while I'm looking for Twitch, so for the next week's plans, on Wednesday will be the final stream until I leave for the cruise. We will be doing an airliner flight. Yes, the first I've done for airliners in quite some time. And then we're gonna be once we get back on Wednesday, we will be doing Route 66. We're going to do a Route 66 trip. We're going to start from Chicago and make our way down to Springfield, Illinois. Or maybe make our way down to St. Louis, possibly, depending on how I feel like it. But yeah, we're going to kickstart the Route 66 journey on September 21st. So I hope you guys check around during that time. And of course, I'll be uploading pictures. Okay, RGDA, Filbert, John Fly, and Iceman. Since I want to pick Microsoft Flight Simulator, that takes out Filbert, unfortunately. I'm thinking about flying. Let's see who we're gonna pick the raid. I think we're gonna raid someone new today. I think we're gonna raid Arch NDA today. Now, for guys who don't know anything about Arch, Arch does a lot of BATSIM at LAX, which is one of the busiest airports in the country. So guys, thank you guys so much. And plus, it's someone new. We haven't raided him before. So let's raid Arch NDA. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you guys have had a great day. See you on Wednesday as we take the airliners, and we're gonna have a day with the airliners. Thank you guys so much, and make sure you guys check them out. Take care, everyone. See you on Wednesday. Viper Strike 95 is signing off. Love you all.